My beloved child, listen carefully, because this message is not random, and this moment is not ordinary. On February 10th, something shifts in the unseen, and Archangel Michael is stepping forward to explain what you have been sensing but could not fully name. You have felt something strange. Eyes on you, attention you did not invite, resistance that feels unnecessary. You wondered why certain people observe you silently, why opposition seems unusually focused on your life. Hear this clearly. They are watching because you carry something rare, and you were never meant to blend in. From the moment you stepped into the season, your presence began to disturb systems that thrive on sameness. Archangel Michael says the opposition does not study what is weak. It studies what threatens its control. That is why even when you stay quiet, even when you try to live simply, you still become a point of focus. There is a reason your name comes up in rooms you have never entered. There is a reason your progress unsettles people who barely know you. This is not coincidence. This is confirmation. You were marked long before you understood your calling. Heaven placed a signature on your spirit, and hell noticed the ink was permanent. Archangel Michael wants you to understand something powerful today. Ordinary people are ignored, but chosen ones are monitored. That is why the resistance feels personal. That is why delays felt targeted. That is why confusion tried to sit where clarity belongs. The opposition hoped pressure would make you shrink. Instead, it revealed your assignment. February 10th is not just a date. It is a line of demarcation. Until now, much of what you endured felt unexplained. You asked yourself why doors closed suddenly, why friendships shifted, why certain environments grew uncomfortable the moment you began to grow. Archangel Michael says those spaces were never meant to contain what you are becoming. Ordinary rooms cannot hold uncommon purpose. The watching was not about stopping you. It was about measuring how much you could carry. Hear this. You were never meant to be average, predictable, or easily categorized. That is why your journey looks different from others. That is why your timing has confused even you. Heaven designed you to operate outside familiar patterns, and when you stepped into alignment with that design, the opposition took notes. Not because they are stronger, but because they are afraid of what activates when you finally stand fully in who you are. Archangel Michael says there is a reason they keep checking your movements. There is a reason they react when you succeed quietly. They sense that something in you cannot be replicated. Your voice, your discernment, your resilience, it carries weight. And weight shifts atmospheres. The opposition has seen people like you before, and they know what happens when you stop doubting yourself. That is why distractions increased. That is why subtle discouragement tried to wear you down slowly. It was never about one big attack. It was about hoping you would forget who you are. But February 10th brings remembrance. A holy remembering. On this day, the fog begins to lift. What confused you will start to make sense. Patterns will become visible. You will realize the watching was not proof of danger, but proof of value. Gold is guarded. Treasure is monitored. Purpose is observed. Ordinary things are left unattended. Archangel Michael says you are entering a phase where awareness becomes your shield. No more wondering why. No more internalizing resistance as failure. You are being taught how to move with wisdom, not fear. The opposition may watch, but they cannot access what God sealed. They may analyze, but they cannot imitate the grace on your life. They may attempt to delay, but they cannot deny what has been authorized in heaven. This message is arriving now because you are closer than you think. Close to clarity. To momentum. Close to stepping fully into what you were chosen for. That inner stirring you feel is not anxiety, it is activation. Something ancient within your spirit is responding to truth. You are beginning to outgrow the version of yourself that tried to stay small to keep others comfortable. Archangel Michael says this next season requires courage, not loudness. Precision, not explanation. You do not need to announce your growth. Let the fruit speak. Let the peace speak. Let the consistency speak. Those who are watching will soon realize they misjudged your quiet. Silence was never weakness. It was preparation. So stand still for a moment and receive this. You were never meant to be ordinary, and February 10th marks the moment you stop questioning that truth. The watching will not stop, but it will no longer intimidate you. Instead, it will remind you that you are exactly where you are supposed to be. If this message is resonating deep within you, there is more unfolding that you need to hear. Beloved soul, there is a deeper layer to why the opposition keeps watching you, and it is not what you think. Archangel Michael says they are not drawn to your past, they are reacting to your future. Something ahead of you is already casting a shadow backward, and those who operate on control can sense when a breakthrough is forming before it becomes visible. That is why the pressure increased right before clarity arrived. You were approaching a threshold, and resistance always gathers at doors it cannot close. You may have noticed how certain people seem unusually curious about your decisions, your movements, even your silence. Archangel Michael explains that this curiosity is rooted in uncertainty. They cannot predict you anymore. You no longer move according to old patterns, and that makes you impossible to manage. When you stopped explaining yourself, when you stopped seeking validation, when you began choosing peace over approval, something shifted. The opposition lost its leverage, and watching became their only option. Understand this clearly. Watching does not mean winning. It means waiting. It means hoping you hesitate. It means expecting you to doubt yourself at the last moment. But Archangel Michael says this is the season where hesitation breaks its hold. You are learning to move without asking for permission. You are learning to trust the inner confirmation that comes from God, not from people. That is why your growth has been quiet but unstoppable. There is also a reason the opposition tries to study your weaknesses instead of your strengths. They know your strength is not something they can copy. It was forged through endurance, through unseen battles, through moments when you chose faith even when answers were delayed. What you carry now is not talent alone. It is authority. And authority makes watchers nervous because it cannot be manipulated. Archangel Michael wants you to hear this. You are not under surveillance because you are vulnerable. You are observed because you are influential. Even when you feel small, your decisions ripple outward. Your obedience affects others. Your courage gives permission to those who are still afraid. That is why distractions try to pull you in different directions. The goal was never to destroy you. It was to divide your focus. But now, your vision is sharpening. February 10th did not just awaken awareness. It activated alignment. You are beginning to sense when something is off without needing proof. You are beginning to discern energy, intention, and timing with greater clarity. Archangel Michael says this discernment is part of your protection. You no longer need to confront everything you notice. Sometimes, seeing clearly is enough. Wisdom will tell you when to speak and when to move in silence. This is also the moment where you must choose consistency over comfort. The opposition watches for inconsistency because it creates openings. When you remain steady, when your actions match your values, when your faith stays anchored, their influence weakens. Archangel Michael says do not underestimate the power of your daily choices. Small, faithful steps are building something far larger than you can see right now. If this message is helping you understand your journey in a new way, take a moment to engage with it. Like this message so it reaches others who are quietly walking this path. Share it with someone who had been feeling watched, questioned, or misunderstood. Leave a comment declaring that you are stepping fully into what you were chosen for. Subscribe to this channel and become part of this growing community. And if you feel led, join the membership so you can walk deeper into these messages together. Your interaction is not small. It helps this word reach the ones who need it most. Archangel Michael also reminds you that timing is everything. Do not rush what is still forming. The opposition often pushes urgency because haste creates mistakes. Heaven moves with precision. What is unfolding in your life has been carefully measured. Nothing is late. Nothing is wasted. Even the watching has served a purpose. It has trained you to stay alert, grounded, and discerning. You are entering a phase where your presence alone will speak. You will not need to announce your intentions. Results will introduce you. Peace will confirm you. Those who once doubted will quietly reassess, and those who watched with suspicion will realize they misjudged your resilience. Archangel Michael says you are about to move in a confidence that does not require explanation. Hold on, because what is about to be revealed next will connect the watching, the resistance, and your calling in a way you have never seen before. Chosen one, Archangel Michael says now is the moment where the hidden meaning behind the watching must be revealed, because understanding this will change how you see yourself forever. The opposition has not been watching to gather power over you. They have been watching because they recognize a transfer coming. When God prepares to elevate someone, there is always movement in the unseen before there is evidence in the natural. What you have been sensing is not danger, it is anticipation. There are assignments that cannot be stopped, only observed. Yours is one of them. Archangel Michael says the opposition watches because they know that once you step fully into alignment, influence will shift. You will speak with authority even in quiet moments. Your decisions will carry weight beyond your immediate surroundings. This is why resistance intensified when you tried to settle for less. Heaven would not allow you to remain comfortable in places that were beneath your calling. You were chosen for impact, not applause. That is why your preparation has been lonely at times. That is why misunderstandings followed you even when your intentions were pure. Archangel Michael reveals that isolation was not punishment, it was protection. Certain connections could not travel with you into this next phase. Certain voices would have diluted your discernment. So God allowed distance to form, not to harm you, but to refine you. The opposition watches because they cannot access what you carry. They cannot understand how you survived what should have broken you. They cannot comprehend how peace stayed with you when logic said you should be bitter. A kind of strength does not come from personality, it comes from assignment. Archangel Michael says you were trained in pressure because your purpose requires stability when others panic. February 10th marked the end of your invisibility in the spirit. Even if your life still looks normal on the surface, something has shifted beneath it. Your prayers are landing differently now. Your words carry agreement with heaven. Your obedience is unlocking doors for others who will never know your name but will benefit from your faithfulness. This is why the watching feels intense. It is the last phase before release. Understand this truth deeply. Ordinary lives are not studied. Ordinary paths do not attract this level of attention. The very fact that you are observed is evidence that you are entrusted with something rare. Archangel Michael says stop asking why it had been so hard. Instead, ask what kind of calling requires this level of refinement. The answer will humble you, and strengthen you at the same time. You are not late. You are not behind. You are precisely where preparation meets promise. The opposition hoped delay would turn into discouragement, but instead, it produced endurance. You learned how to wait without quitting. You learned how to trust without seeing. These are not small victories. They are qualifications. And now hear this carefully. The season ahead will require bold obedience. Not reckless action, but decisive faith. There will be moments when you feel the urge to shrink back into familiarity. Archangel Michael says, do not do it. Familiarity is no longer safe for you. Growth demands movement, and movement requires trust. You will not have every detail, but you will have enough light for the next step. What is coming will not just bless you, it will validate everything you endured. The watching will turn into silence. The resistance will lose interest. When purpose activates fully, opposition fades because it can no longer interfere. This is why Archangel Michael has been preparing you internally before changing things externally. When the shift happens, you will be ready to steward it with humility and wisdom. Receive this as confirmation. You were chosen for more, and heaven has not forgotten you. Type I receive the calling in the comments if this message is speaking to your spirit. Blessing code 914 has just been released over your life. This is the moment where the oil meets the ground. As this word is reaching you, it is also reaching others who are on the edge of giving up, and God is asking who will help carry this light forward. I hear the Lord say, as you sow, I will multiply the harvest beyond what your eyes can see. When you support this mission through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal, you are placing seed into soil that feeds hungry souls. This message does not end with you. It flows through you like a river. I bless every giver to receive open heavens, renewed strength, and divine acceleration. Do not delay what obedience is calling you to do. Release your seed now and become a living part of this assignment. My precious one, now that the veil has been lifted, Archangel Michael wants to speak to you about what happens after you realize you were never meant to be ordinary. Awareness changes responsibility. Once you know who you are, you can no longer move the way you used to. This is where many hesitate, not because they lack faith, but because growth requires releasing identities that once kept you safe. The old version of you survived, but the new version of you is called to lead. You may feel a strange mixture of excitement and seriousness settling into your spirit. That is because you are transitioning from preparation into positioning. Archangel Michael says this is the phase where heaven rearranges your priorities. What once felt urgent will lose its grip. What once felt optional will become essential. You are not losing interest in things randomly. You are being redirected toward what actually matters for your assignment. The opposition senses this shift, and that is why their watching becomes quieter but more intentional. They are waiting to see if you will step forward or retreat into comfort. Archangel Michael makes this clear. Retreat is no longer available to you. Every time you tried to go back to who you were, peace left. That was not punishment, it was guidance. God was teaching you that the old environment can no longer sustain the new calling. You may also notice that your tolerance for confusion has decreased. You no longer accept half-truths, vague promises, or misaligned relationships. Archangel Michael says this sharpening is necessary. Where you are going, clarity is protection. You cannot afford emotional clutter or spiritual noise. That is why silence has become valuable to you. It is not emptiness, it is space for instruction. There will be moments in this season where you feel misunderstood. People who benefited from your past availability may not understand your new boundaries. Archangel Michael says, do not explain yourself excessively. Explanations invite negotiation, and your calling is not up for negotiation. Those who are meant to walk with you will adjust. Those who resist were only assigned to a previous chapter. This is also a season of inner strengthening. You are learning to stand without constant reassurance. Archangel Michael is teaching you how to recognize God's voice within, not just through others. This does not isolate you, it matures you. Dependence shifts into discernment. Faith moves from external confirmation to internal confidence. This is how leaders are formed. Pay attention to how your prayers are changing. You are no longer asking only for relief. You are asking for alignment. You are no longer praying to escape pressure. You are asking for wisdom to steward it. Archangel Michael says these are signs of growth. You are thinking beyond yourself now, and heaven responds quickly to prayers that carry purpose. The watching you once felt as intimidation will soon become irrelevant. When you stop reacting, opposition loses influence. Archangel Michael reminds you that not every battle is meant to be fought. Some are meant to be outgrown. Victory does not always look like confrontation. Sometimes it looks like elevation. You rise, and what tried to follow you cannot breathe at that level. You are being trained to move with intention. Random decisions will feel uncomfortable now. You will feel needing to pause, to listen, to wait for clarity before acting. This is not delay, it is discipline. Archangel Michael says disciplined movement protects destiny. The more intentional you become, the fewer unnecessary struggles you will face. There is also a call to consistency in this season. Not perfection, but faithfulness. Small acts done daily are building a foundation strong enough to hold what is coming. You may not see immediate results, but heaven is recording every act of obedience. Nothing is overlooked. Nothing is wasted. As you move forward, remember this truth. You do not need to prove that you are chosen. The fruit will speak. The peace will speak. The doors opening without struggle will speak. Archangel Michael says, let your life testify, not your explanations. What lies ahead will require courage, but not the loud kind. It will require steady obedience, quiet confidence, and trust in God's timing. You are not walking blindly. You are walking by faith, and faith sees what the natural eye cannot. Settle this in your heart now. You were never meant to be ordinary, and you are no longer preparing to become who you are. You are becoming it now. Beloved one, Archangel Michael now draws your attention to a subtle but critical shift taking place within you. It is not loud, and it is not dramatic, yet it is reshaping the way you see the world and yourself. You are no longer reacting the same way you once did. Situations that used to drain you now reveal lessons. Conversations that once confused you now expose truth. This is the evidence of spiritual maturity unfolding quietly within your life. You are beginning to recognize patterns without being consumed by them. Archangel Michael says this is important because discernment without peace becomes fear, but discernment with peace becomes wisdom. What you are gaining now is wisdom. You can see clearly without needing to confront everything you notice. You can move forward without dragging old wounds with you. This is not emotional numbness, it is healing. The opposition continues to watch, but now their watching is passive. They sense that access have been restricted. The doors that once allowed interference are closing, not because you fought harder, but because you grew stronger. Archangel Michael explains that strength does not always announce itself. Sometimes it shows up as restraint. Sometimes it appears as silence. Sometimes it looks like choosing not to engage where you once felt obligated. This season is teaching you how to steward your energy. You are realizing that not every request deserves a response and not every opportunity is meant for you. Archangel Michael says this understanding will protect you from burnout and misalignment. You are being trained to ask a new question before you say yes. Not can I do this, but is this assigned to me? That single shift will save you years. You may also feel a growing desire for depth over distraction. Superficial conversations lose their appeal. Temporary excitement no longer satisfies you. You are craving meaning, truth, and alignment. This is because your spirit is preparing for responsibility. What is coming will require clarity of mind and steadiness of heart. Archangel Michael says your hunger is proof that you are being readied. There will be moments when you feel a gap between where you are and where you know you are going. Do not let that gap discourage you. That space is intentional. It is where faith is exercised and patience is refined. Archangel Michael reminds you that bridges are built one step at a time. You do not need to see the entire path. You only need to stay obedient in the present moment. Pay attention to how your boundaries are being tested. When you choose alignment, resistance often shows up disguised as obligation or guilt. Archangel Michael says do not confuse pressure with calling. What is from God brings clarity and peace, even when it requires courage. What is not from God brings confusion and urgency. Learn to recognize the difference, and you will walk with confidence. You are also entering a phase where your influence will begin to expand naturally. You will not have to chase platforms or recognition. People will be drawn to your steadiness, your insight, your ability to remain grounded. Archangel Michael says influence that comes from alignment lasts longer than influence that comes from striving. Let God do the lifting. The opposition once relied on your self-doubt to slow you down. Now that doubt is losing its voice. You may still have questions, but they no longer paralyze you. You are learning to move forward with imperfect information, trusting that God will adjust your steps along the way. This is not recklessness. It is faith in motion. As this season unfolds, remember that rest is not a reward. It is a requirement. Archangel Michael urges you to honor moments of stillness. Strength is replenished in rest, and clarity is sharpened in quiet. Do not mistake constant activity for productivity. Some of your greatest breakthroughs will come during moments when you allow yourself to pause. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are not overlooked. Every delay has refined your discernment. Every challenge has strengthened your resolve. Every quiet moment has deepened your connection with God. Archangel Michael says this is the foundation upon which extraordinary assignments are built. Hold steady. Stay aligned. Continue walking forward with humility and courage. The ordinary has already fallen away, and what remains is the beginning of something far greater than you imagined. My beloved one, Archangel Michael speaks now about the moment you are stepping into, because this phase is not just about growth. It is about stewardship. What God is preparing to release into your life carries responsibility, and heaven does not entrust weight to those who are not grounded. That is why your inner world has been the focus for so long. Stability always comes before expansion. You may notice that you are becoming more selective, not out of pride, but out of clarity. You no longer feel the need to attend every invitation, explain every choice, or rescue every situation. Archangel Michael says this is not withdrawal, it is wisdom. Your time is becoming sacred because your assignment is becoming clearer. When purpose sharpens, distractions lose their appeal. This is also a season where obedience must become immediate. Delayed obedience often feels reasonable, but it weakens momentum. Archangel Michael says, when God prompts you now, it is because the timing is precise. Even small acts of obedience are aligning you with outcomes you cannot yet see. Trust that heaven sees the full picture even when you only see one step ahead. The opposition continues to observe, but their influence is fading. They relied on your hesitation, your overthinking, your tendency to doubt your own discernment. Now that you are learning to move with quiet confidence, their strategies no longer land the same way. Archangel Michael reminds you that authority grows when you act in agreement with truth, not when you wait for perfect conditions. You may also feel an increased sense of responsibility toward others. Not to fix them, but to lead by example. Your consistency, your integrity, your calm under pressure is speaking louder than words ever could. This is influence at its purest. Archangel Michael says people are watching not because you demand attention, but because your life reflects alignment. There will be moments ahead where you are tempted to downplay your growth to make others comfortable. Resist that urge. Humility does not require self-reduction. You can remain humble while still honoring what God is doing in you. Archangel Michael says shrinking yourself does not serve anyone. Your light gives others permission to rise. This is also a call to remain teachable. Confidence should never turn into rigidity. Stay open to correction, guidance, and refinement. Archangel Michael says those who remain teachable stay usable. Pride closes doors that humility keeps open. The higher you are lifted, the more important it becomes to stay rooted. Pay attention to how your prayers are becoming more intentional. You are no longer asking vague questions. You are seeking specific direction. This is alignment in action. Heaven responds quickly to focused faith. Do not be surprised if answers come through unexpected conversations, sudden clarity, or quiet inner knowing. God is creative in how He speaks. If this message is strengthening you and bringing clarity to your journey, now is the time to engage with it. Like this message so it can reach others who are quietly walking this same path. Share it with someone who has been feeling the weight of being chosen but not fully understood. Comment with a declaration of faith and alignment. Subscribe to this channel to stay connected to these timely messages, and consider joining the membership to go deeper into what God is revealing in this season. Your support and engagement help carry this word farther than you may realize. Archangel Michael also reminds you to guard your peace. Peace is not passive, it is powerful. When you protect your peace, you protect your clarity. Not every conflict deserves your energy. Not every opinion deserves your attention. Learn to discern what strengthens you versus what drains you. This discernment will keep you aligned. There is acceleration ahead, but it will come in waves, not chaos. God does not rush what must last. Archangel Michael says trust the process even when progress feels slow. What is being built now has longevity. You are not just stepping into a moment, you are stepping into a season. Hold on, because what is coming next will reveal how this season of alignment leads directly into visible movement and open doors you did not force open yourself. Beloved child, Archangel Michael now speaks about movement, because alignment always leads to motion. What you have been experiencing internally is preparing you for visible shifts externally. Doors do not open randomly. They respond to readiness. And readiness is not measured by excitement but by stability. You are entering a phase where things begin to move, not because you pushed, but because you are positioned. You may notice opportunities presenting themselves in unexpected ways. Conversations will open pathways. Ideas will come with unusual clarity. Invitations may arise that feel weighty rather than flattering. Archangel Michael says pay attention to what brings peace, not just potential. What is from God will feel anchored, even if it stretches you. What is not aligned will feel rushed, even if it looks impressive. This is also the season where your past will stop defining your future. Old labels lose their authority when purpose takes the lead. You are no longer responding from who you were. You are acting from who you are becoming. Archangel Michael says this shift will surprise even you. You will handle situations differently. You will speak with calm assurance where you once hesitated. This is not personality change. It is spiritual growth becoming visible. Some people will not recognize you immediately in this new posture. Do not be troubled by that. Growth often looks unfamiliar to those who only knew your survival mode. Archangel Michael reminds you that comfort with your past version does not obligate you to remain there. You are allowed to evolve. You are allowed to outgrow environments that no longer match your calling. As movement increases, discernment becomes even more important. Not every open door is your door. Not every opportunity is your assignment. Archangel Michael urges you to stay prayerful, not paranoid. Discernment flows best from peace, not fear. When you remain centered, you will know when to move and when to wait. There may also be a testing of your consistency. When things begin to work, the temptation is to relax discipline. Do not do that. What got you here must be maintained to keep you here. Archangel Michael says faithfulness in small things is what sustains large outcomes. Stay grounded in what you have learned. Keep your routines aligned with your values. The opposition, seeing momentum, may attempt subtle distractions. Not obvious resistance, but small diversions meant to dilute focus. Archangel Michael says remain alert. You do not need to fight these distractions, you need to recognize them. When you choose alignment repeatedly, distractions lose their power. This is also a time when your voice will carry greater influence. People will listen differently. Your words will land with more weight. Use this wisely. Speak with intention. Encourage more than you correct. Lead more than you explain. Archangel Michael says authority is revealed through how you handled influence, not how much of it you have. You are learning how to balance humility with confidence. Neither extreme serves your calling alone. Confidence without humility becomes arrogance. Humility without confidence becomes invisibility. Archangel Michael says you are being taught how to walk in both, to know your value without announcing it, and to serve without diminishing yourself. Pay attention to how peace follows your obedience now. Even when decisions are difficult, there is an inner confirmation that settles you. This is God's assurance that you are walking in alignment. Archangel Michael says trust this peace. It is a compass. When peace leaves, pause. When peace stays, proceed. You may still face moments of uncertainty, but they will no longer derail you. Uncertainty now becomes a signal to seek guidance, not a reason to stop moving. This is maturity. This is leadership forming. Archangel Michael says leaders are not those who never doubt, but those who move forward responsibly despite it. As the season continues, remember that rest remains essential. Movement does not mean exhaustion. Pace yourself. God's timing includes rhythms of action and restoration. When you honor rest, you sustain clarity. When you ignore it, discernment weakens. Choose balance. What is unfolding is not sudden. It is strategic. Every step is building toward something that will last. Archangel Michael assures you that you are not walking alone. Guidance surrounds you. Protection goes before you. Wisdom walks with you. Stay steady. Stay attentive. What you have been preparing for is no longer distant. It is beginning to take shape around you, and you are ready to meet it with grace and strength. Beloved one, Archangel Michael speaks now about confirmation, because every calling reaches a moment where heaven confirms what was formed in secret. This is that moment for you. What you have sensed internally is beginning to echo externally. You will notice alignment not only within yourself, but around you. Circumstances will start responding to your obedience. Resistance will lose its grip. Clarity will replace confusion, not all at once, but steadily. This phase is marked by recognition, not always public, but undeniable. People will begin to see what they once overlooked. Opportunities will arise that feel purposeful rather than accidental. Archangel Michael says this is not reward for effort, it is response to alignment. When you move in agreement with God, creation itself begins to cooperate. You may feel a deepening sense of responsibility now, not pressure but awareness. You understand that your choices matter beyond your personal comfort. Your consistency affects others. Your courage creates pathways. This is why your journey has been so intentional. Heaven was shaping not just your outcomes, but your character. Influence without character collapses, but influence built on integrity endures. The opposition that once watched with intensity is now losing interest. Not because you disappeared, but because you matured. Archangel Michael explains that when fear no longer controls you, manipulation loses its entry point. You are no longer predictable through insecurity. You are grounded. You are aware. This makes you free. There will be moments when you look back and realize how much you have changed. Not hardened but strengthened. Not distant but discerning. Archangel Michael says honor that growth. Do not minimize what it took to become this version of yourself. The nights of prayer, the seasons of waiting, the quiet obedience all mattered. This is also a season of gratitude. Gratitude anchors blessing. When you acknowledge what God has done, you position yourself to receive what is next. Archangel Michael says do not rush past moments of thanksgiving. They stabilize your heart and keep pride from taking root. Remember who sustained you when outcomes were uncertain. As clarity increases, so will peace. Peace does not mean the absence of challenges. It means the presence of trust. You trust God's timing. You trust His guidance. You trust that what is meant for you will not miss you. This trust allows you to move without anxiety, to plan without fear, to dream without limitation. You are also learning how to release outcomes. Obedience is your responsibility. Results are God's. Archangel Michael says this release will lighten your spirit. When you stop carrying what was never yours to control, joy returns. Creativity flows. Vision expands. There is a settling happening within you now. A knowing. You may not have every answer, but you have enough assurance to continue. This is faith in its purest form. Not blind belief, but confident trust based on relationship. Archangel Michael says this kind of faith moves mountains quietly. As you continue forward, remember that humility remains your covering. Stay teachable. Stay prayerful. Stay grounded. Elevation without humility leads to isolation, but elevation with humility creates impact. You are being positioned to influence, not impress. This part of the journey marks a turning point. You are no longer questioning whether you were chosen. You are learning how to walk as someone who knows they were. That knowledge brings peace, focus, and courage. Archangel Michael affirms that you are exactly where you need to be. Type "I walk in alignment" in the comments if you receive this word. Blessing code 1428 is now activated over your life. What you just received is not only for you. It is oil meant to flow. I hear the Spirit saying that this word is lighting paths for souls who feel unseen and forgotten. When you support this mission through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal, you are sowing into a field that is already producing harvest. As you give, heaven opens rivers where there were dry places. I speak blessing, increase, and clarity over every giver who responds in obedience. This is not a pause, it is a moment of action. Release your seed now and partner with what God is doing through this word. Beloved child, Archangel Michael now speaks to you about endurance, because many think the hardest part is waiting, but often the true test comes after movement begins. When alignment brings momentum, it also reveals what must be sustained. You are entering a season where consistency matters more than intensity. What God is building through you is not momentary, it is meant to last. There is a quiet strength forming within you now. You are learning how to remain steady even when emotions fluctuate. You no longer rely on constant reassurance to keep moving forward. Archangel Michael says this steadiness is crucial because what is ahead will require calm leadership, not reactive responses. You are being trained to hold your ground without losing your peace. You may notice that challenges still arise, but they no longer shake you the same way. What once felt overwhelming now feels manageable. This is not because problems have disappeared, but because your capacity has increased. Archangel Michael explains that God does not always remove obstacles. Sometimes he expands the one who must walk through them. You are stronger than you realize. This season will also reveal the difference between support and assignment. Some people are meant to walk with you temporarily, others long-term, and some only to teach you a lesson. Archangel Michael says, do not grieve every departure. Not every exit is a loss. Some are protection. Some are redirection. Some simply mark the end of a chapter that has fulfilled its purpose. As you continue forward, there will be moments when you are tempted to look back and measure progress against the past. Resist that urge. Comparison will blur gratitude and weaken focus. Archangel Michael reminds you that your journey is unique. The pace, the process, and the outcome are all tailored for your calling. Trust the design. You are also being taught how to lead yourself before leading others. Self-discipline, emotional awareness, and spiritual attentiveness are becoming natural to you. This is preparation for influence. Archangel Michael says those who cannot govern themselves will struggle to steward responsibility. The growth you see now is building a foundation that will not collapse under pressure. There may be moments when silence surrounds you again. Do not mistake silence for stagnation. Silence often accompanies growth beneath the surface. Roots grow quietly before branches extend visibly. Archangel Michael says, trust the unseen work. What is forming now will support future expansion. This is also a time to refine your focus. Distractions may appear more subtle, disguised as good opportunities or familiar habits. Not everything that feels comfortable is beneficial. Archangel Michael urges you to stay intentional. Ask yourself whether something aligns with where you are going, not just where you have been. This discernment will keep you moving forward without unnecessary detours. You are learning how to respond rather than react. This shift is powerful. Reaction gives control to circumstances. Response maintains authority. Archangel Michael says when you respond from wisdom, you remain anchored even when things around you shift. This is the posture of someone who knows they are guided. Your faith is also maturing. It is no longer dependent on visible signs alone. You trust even when evidence is delayed. This kind of faith does not waver easily. It hath been tested and refined. Archangel Michael says this faith will sustain you when outcomes take time to manifest. There will be opportunities ahead that require courage. Not dramatic courage, but quiet bravery. choosing integrity when shortcuts are offered, choosing patience when urgency pressures you, choosing obedience when compromise seems easier. Archangel Michael assures you that each of these choices strengthens your alignment and protects your calling. As endurance grows, so does peace. Peace becomes your indicator. When peace remains, continue. When peace withdraws, pause and listen. Archangel Michael says peace is one of the clearest signals of alignment. It will guide you when words are unclear and options seem equal. You are not meant to rush this season. Endurance cannot be hurried. Inbuilt through repeated faithfulness. Day by day, enjoys my joys step by step. This is how lasting purpose is fulfilled. Archangel Michael reminds you that those who endure with humility will stand with confidence when the time comes. Settle this truth within you. You are not just moving forward, you are being established. What God is doing now is strengthening your foundation so that what comes next will not overwhelm you. Stay grounded. Stay attentive. Stay faithful. The journey is unfolding exactly as it should, and you are walking it with greater wisdom than ever before. Beloved one, Archangel Michael speaks now about visibility, because there comes a moment when what was cultivated in private must begin to function in public. This does not mean exposure without covering. It means placement with protection. You are stepping into a phase where your presence will be noticed more clearly, not because you seek attention, but because alignment naturally draws recognition. Light does not announce itself. It is seen because it illuminates. You may feel a quiet tension between remaining hidden and stepping forward. This is normal. Archangel Michael says every chosen one wrestles with this moment. Hidden seasons build depth, but revealed seasons release impact. What you carry has matured enough to be shared. The fear you feel is not a warning. It is a sign that responsibility is increasing. Courage is required, but you will not be unprepared. This is also the season where clarity replaces hesitation. You will find yourself making decisions more decisively. Not impulsively, but confidently. The inner back and forth that once delayed action is losing its grip. Archangel Michael says this is because you now trust the discernment God has developed in you. You are no longer waiting for perfect certainty. You are moving with faithful confidence. As visibility increases, so does accountability. You will be more aware of how your choices affect others. This is not pressure. It is stewardship. Archangel Michael explains that influence always invites responsibility. Your words will matter. Your consistency will matter. Your integrity will matter. You are being trusted with more because you have been faithful with less. The opposition may attempt one last strategy in this season. Distraction through recognition. Praise can be as dangerous as criticism if it shifts your focus. Archangel Michael warns you to stay anchored. Appreciation is not your assignment. Obedience is. Receive encouragement with gratitude, but do not build your identity on it. Your worth was established long before anyone noticed you. You are also learning how to manage expectations, both yours and others. Not everyone will understand your pace. Some will want more from you than is healthy. Others may expect less because they still see you through an old lens. Archangel Michael says remain centered. You do not need to rush to prove anything or slow down to accommodate misunderstanding. Move at the pace of peace. This is a critical moment to stay connected. Messages like this are not meant to be received in isolation. If this word is resonating and strengthening your spirit, engage with it. Like this message so it reaches others who are stepping into visibility after long seasons of preparation. Share it with someone who feels the weight of being called forward. Leave a comment declaring that you are walking boldly and wisely into what God has prepared. Subscribe to this channel so you remain connected to these timely confirmations. And if you feel led, join the membership to walk deeper in discernment and understanding. Your engagement helps this message reach the ones who are still finding their footing. Archangel Michael also offers this reminder: visibility does not mean vulnerability when you are covered. God does not expose what He has not protected. You are not stepping into this season alone. Guidance surrounds you. Wisdom goes before you. Correction will come when needed, not to shame you, but to keep you aligned. There will be moments when you question whether you are doing enough. Release that thought. Faithfulness is not measured by exhaustion. You are not called to burn out. You are called to endure. Archangel Michael says sustainability is part of your anointing. Pace yourself. Rest intentionally. Return often to stillness so you can hear clearly. Your voice will begin to carry more authority now. Not because you raise it, but because it is rooted in truth. Speak when prompted. Stay silent when led. Love are acts of obedience. Archangel Michael says restraint is just as powerful as action when guided by wisdom. Before you move forward, pause with this truth. What comes next will require your full attention. You will want to be present for what is unfolding, because this next shift will connect everything you have walked through so far. Hold steady. This is where preparation meets purpose in a way you do not want to miss. Beloved child, Archangel Michael speaks now about fulfillment, because there comes a sacred point where preparation and purpose begin to overlap. This is not the final destination, but it is a powerful confirmation that you are walking in the right direction. You are starting to experience moments where things feel aligned rather than forced, where effort meets grace, and where obedience produces peace instead of exhaustion. You may notice that your confidence has become quieter but stronger. You are no longer fueled by urgency or comparison. Instead, you are guided by inner assurance. Archangel Michael says this is the confidence that comes from knowing God is involved in your steps. It does not need to prove itself. It does not panic when things are unclear. It waits, listens, and moves with intention. This season will bring moments of fulfillment that feel simple yet profound. A conversation that confirms your direction. An opportunity that fits without strain. A sense of peace after making a difficult decision. These are signs that alignment is producing fruit. Archangel Michael reminds you not to overlook these moments. They are markers along the path, reminding you that God hath been present all along. There may still be challenges, but they will feel different now. Not like obstacles meant to stop you, but like responsibilities meant to mature you. You are no longer fighting to survive. You are learning how to steward what has been entrusted to you. This shift changes everything. Pressure no longer feels threatening. It feels purposeful. You are also becoming more comfortable with who you are becoming. The need to explain yourself is fading. You are no longer seeking permission to take up space. Archangel Michael says this does not mean you have become indifferent to others. It means you have become secure in your assignment. Security brings freedom. Freedom allows you to serve without fear. As fulfillment grows, so does discernment. You will find it easier to recognize what aligns with your values and what does not. Decisions that once felt complex now feel clearer. This is the result of walking closely with God over time. Archangel Michael says relationship produces clarity. The more you listen, the more you recognize His voice. There is also a deepening of gratitude happening within you. Gratitude not just for blessings, but for the process that shaped you. You can now look back at seasons of waiting, misunderstanding, and resistance with compassion instead of frustration. You see how each phase contributed to your growth. This perspective brings healing, You may also feel a growing desire to pour into others in meaningful ways, not from obligation but from overflow. Archangel Michael says this is a sign of maturity. When you are no longer consumed by survival, you can invest in impact. Your experiences now carry wisdom that can guide others without controlling them. This is a season to remain anchored in truth. Fulfillment can sometimes tempt people to relax their disciplines. Do not do that. What sustained you through preparation must sustain you through fulfillment. Archangel Michael says stay prayerful, stay grounded, stay humble. These practices will keep you aligned as responsibility increases. You are also learning to trust God with outcomes. You have done what you were asked to do, and now you release the need to control results. This trust frees your mind and guards your peace. Archangel Michael says surrender is not weakness, it is partnership. When you release control, you make room for God to move fully. There will be moments when you feel both grateful and stretched at the same time. This is normal. Growth does not stop at fulfillment, it expands from it. Each level prepares you for the next. Archangel Michael assures you that you will not be rushed into what you are not ready to handle. Timing remains in God's hands. As you walk forward, carry this truth with you. You are not fulfilling purpose alone. You are part of something larger than yourself. Your obedience connects to others' breakthroughs. Your faithfulness strengthens unseen foundations. This awareness brings humility and responsibility together. Take a moment to breathe and acknowledge how far you have come. Not with pride, but with gratitude. You did not quit. You did not harden your heart. You stayed open, teachable, and faithful. Archangel Michael says this is why you are standing where you are now. The final phase ahead will bring closure, confirmation, and blessing in ways that will surprise you. Stay present. Stay attentive. What God is about to complete will honor every step you took in faith. My beloved child, Archangel Michael speaks now of completion, because every divine assignment carries a moment where heaven seals what was begun. This is not an ending of purpose, but the closing of one powerful cycle and the opening of another. You have walked through preparation, refinement, alignment, movement, and visibility. Now you are stepping into confirmation. What was promised is no longer distant. It is approaching you with clarity. There is a deep calm surrounding you now, even if circumstances are still unfolding. This calm is not passivity, it is confidence. You know, without needing constant reassurance, that God has been guiding you all along. Archangel Michael says this assurance is the mark of someone who has learned to trust the process. You no longer panic when answers take time. You no longer doubt your worth when progress is quiet. You have matured. This final phase brings closure to old questions. You will begin to understand why certain doors never opened, why some prayers were delayed, why some relationships faded. Understanding will not come to reopen wounds, but to heal them fully. Archangel Michael says revelation is a gift meant to bring peace, not regret. You will see that protection often looked like disappointment, and redirection often felt like loss. You are also stepping into a season of blessing that flows naturally, not forcefully. Provision will come in ways that feel timely rather than rushed. Opportunities will align with your values instead of testing them. Archangel Michael explains that this is what happens when obedience matures into trust. God no longer needs to correct your path frequently because your heart is aligned. There will be moments of joy that feel simple yet sacred. Moments where you realize you are no longer carrying the weight you once did. Moments where laughter returns easily. Moments where rest feels allowed. These are signs of restoration. Archangel Michael says joy is not a distraction from purpose. It is a sign that purpose is being fulfilled in the right way. You may also notice that fear has lost its authority over you. It may still whisper, but it no longer decides. Courage has replaced hesitation. Discernment has replaced confusion. Faith has replaced anxiety. This transformation did not happen overnight. It was built through countless small choices to trust God even when clarity was incomplete. As this chapter completes, Archangel Michael invites you to honor it. Honor the version of yourself that endured. Honor the nights you prayed when answers were silent. Honor the strength it took to keep moving forward when being ordinary would have been easier. You did not choose the easy path, you chose the faithful one. Now hear this clearly. What comes next will require the same humility that brought you here. Elevation does not remove dependence on God. It deepens it. Stay connected. Stay prayerful. Stay aligned. The greater the assignment, the more essential the relationship becomes. You are not stepping into the future alone. Heaven goes with you. Wisdom surrounds you. Favor rests upon you. Archangel Michael says, what was released over your life on February 10th is now settling into place. The watching has ended. The preparation is complete. The ordinary has fallen away. Receive this final confirmation with gratitude and confidence. You were chosen. You were refined. You were protected. And now, you are ready. Type I receive the completion in the comments if this message has reached your spirit. Blessing code 3039 is now released and sealed over your life. This is the moment where the oil must be poured forward. What you have received today is not meant to stop with you. It is meant to reach hearts that are still waiting for confirmation. I hear the Lord say, those who place seed in my hands will see a multiplied harvest return to them. When you give through super thanks, membership, or PayPal, you are responding prophetically, not financially. Your seed becomes fuel for this word to cross borders and touch souls. I speak blessing, provision, and divine increase over every giver who obeys now. Do not delay this moment. Release your support today and stand as a partner in what God is doing through this message.